Hello, I'm Laura Lee Taylor, and I thought I'd put this slide together so that you could get to know me a bit better. I am one of three children. I have an older brother and a younger brother, and we lived in the South Island for the first 10 years of my life and then moved to Auckland. My dad is Dutch and my mum is from New Zealand. So I'm originally from New Zealand. I grew up in the South Island. I'm from Timaru. I was born in the Timaru Hospital, and we lived in a small country town called Otapua. Yes, I can speak Dutch. Ik kan spreken een klein beetje Nederlands en ik kan wel verstaan, maar zo goed praten. So anyway, I hope my Dutch friends let me know what you think. My first job was working at the school as the school cleaner. So we would stay behind after school for a good hour and a half to 2 hours, and we would have a section of the school to clean. You would have a particular block, which meant you had a corridor and 4 classrooms, and you had to clean it, get rid of all the rubbish on the lockers. You had to buff and clean the floor. So yeah, that was my first job. Well, as a teenager, I think I always had quite a sunny disposition. I did always look on the bright side. I am always like that. My hair was more frizzy or fluffy. We didn't really realize it was this curly. And I was a little bit shy too. So that was me. After school, I really did not know what I wanted to do. I struggled with this for many, many years. But all I did know is I wanted to travel. I just wanted to travel the world. I wanted to see the other side of the world. So the best way for me to do this is I went with my Oma and I lived in Holland for 6 months. So that was an incredible trip, and something that is with me now forever. So when I returned from Holland, I still did not know what I wanted to do. So I got a job working for my dad, and my dad owned a plumbing and electrical company in East Tamaki in Auckland. So I started off there as a bathroom showroom consultant. So basically, I was selling toilets. Yes, I did. I saw this as my career. I loved sales. I loved selling. I actually really loved and really enjoyed designing people's bathrooms and deciding what they needed. I just loved it and I thrived in that job. I did move up to become sales support for the sales reps, but deep down, I really wanted to be a sales rep myself. And eventually, that dream did come true. And at 21, I was a plumbing sales rep for the builders. So I would be sent out on site and I would quote their build, what bathroom where they would need for their house. So that was pretty cool. And I did that for a good year. And then I took off overseas again. So the travel bug just never went away. And I had to go back overseas. And I wanted to go back when I was older on my own terms. So at 21, I headed off and did what we call the big OE. So that means you head off overseas and we don't know when you're coming back. I travelled overseas or stayed overseas for about 4.5 years. I didn't come back to New Zealand. And currently living in Australia. I never came back to New Zealand. I spent quite a bit of time in London, living and working in London as a temp worker. Back when I went to school, we learned how to touch type. So that was a really great skill. And that got me a lot of temp work. And I did a lot of PA work and typing jobs in London. And I also did bar work as well before I met my husband. So before I get into meeting my husband, I had another career. So I started traveling and I ended up in Dahab, Egypt, of all places to be. And I knew I wanted to do my dive course. So from that one dive course, I ended up wanting to become a diver and dive instructor. So that's what I did. So during my time in Egypt, in Dahab, I ended up meeting, I was halfway through my dive master's course, and then I met my husband now, Rob, and he was partway through his IDC, the instructor course. So we developed a friendship. Clearly, we became close and we did do a little bit of travel together. We went to Thailand, came back to New Zealand, and then I wanted to become a dive instructor. So we went back to Dahab, Egypt, so that I could complete my IDC. We ended up in the Whitsundays. Basically, we flew from Auckland to Brisbane. We bought a car in Brisbane and we drove up the coast. When we landed here in the Whitsundays, we thought this looks like a beautiful place to stay. And yeah, here we are 25 years later. Well, makeup for me was just on a whim. I had two young children at the time, 1 and 3, and I basically sat down and wrote down all the things that I would like to do. I had photography, I had design, I had teaching English as a foreign language, I had all these different things. And I decided and landed on makeup artistry, not to create a career out of. I picked it because I thought it was the most frivolous thing I could do, and I wanted to do something for me. Being in the Whitsundays, it means there's nothing close by, and having two small children, I had to work out how was I going to do this. So I did all the theory. I did a course in Townsville, and I with the Beauty Therapy Centre. They're not there now, but I did a course with them, and I did all the theory at home online, and then I went for a few days at a time, and I did all the practical. Basically, someone said to me, "Oh, you should do weddings," and they just threw it at me, and I thought, "Oh, well, that would be fun. Imagine being paid to do something that I love doing." Like all of us, I needed some sort of validation and some sort of confidence to jump into this career. So I sought out a makeup artist down the Gold Coast called Eve Connolly. And she was a celebrity artist and she was absolutely incredible. So I went and had a couple of one on ones with her to see if I could do this. So now I'm coming up to like my 19th year doing this job that I thought was just a whim, wasn't going to take me anywhere. I have had the privilege of doing something that I love every day of my life and still love. So I feel very, very blessed to have found my passion and my purpose. I have three boys. They are 21, 19, and 13. So it's been a journey, and I've just loved being a boy mum. Wow, this is a big question. I think now, after being in the industry for quite some time, what I'd love to sort of say to my younger self would be trust yourself, like trust your niche and trust your skill and your style. I think I spent quite a few years, like in the beginning, I had this style that I loved and I did really well. I was known as the natural makeup artist, and then I kind of went off on a tangent trying to be like everybody else and serving everybody else. However, I also feel that that is part of the journey. That's what's made me the artist that I am, and it's made me as a better artist. So, yeah, trust yourself a little bit more and back yourself a bit more would be what I would say. Thank you. Thank you so much for getting to this slide. If you managed to make it all the way through, thank you for being one of my past clients. If you've been one before, thank you for following me and supporting my journey. It has been incredible, and I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next. If there are anything that you would like to know about me, any questions that I haven't answered or you'd like answered, please feel free to comment below and I'm happy to share with you. I look forward to having you in my chair.